there's not obviously there's not a lot that I can do to fix any technical issues. I can't slow down. We have about an hour to cover a ton of stuff, and I'm pretty excited about some of the things we're gonna show you today. We'll start out here with the dashboard. So any questions? If you have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to ask those while we're covering that topic. I'll do my best not to jump around too much, so that if any questions are unrelated to the tab that we're in, I'll wait until we reach that tab. So if your question is going unanswered, that's probably why. If you have a question that you don't necessarily want to share with the audience, then go ahead and just let me know when you put that in. It sounds like can anybody confirm that we have audio? We have one person that's having some issue with the audio, and I'm not clear on whether that's on their end. Okay, good. So yeah, good. So we have a lot of people. Here they come. Here come the messages. That's good. So yeah, so the audio is fine, and I will just let me do a quick response here to this person and make sure that they know that. And so yeah, so I'll go ahead and get started here. Again, we don't have a whole lot of time, and for those of you that missed it or have to step out briefly, I've been recording the webinar and we'll put it on YouTube. It'll be in HD, so you'll have everything, and you can go to the spot where that you need to go to, any spots that you missed. So starting out here, we've got the dashboard. This is the dashboard of IDX Broker. This is the main page that you land on when we give you the login. You can move some of these items around, so you can customize this a little bit. Any notifications will show up at the top or in this notification alert area. This is this is the core area for all notifications. This is for highlighted notifications. So if we feel like it's something really important, we'll push it out and highlight it. And in some cases, that's a reds transition for your MLS. Or we've experienced a lot of cases where MLSs are increasing fees, and so we're having to pass some of those fees through occasionally. That's not always the case. Sometimes we just accept those costs, but yeah, that's typically the case. And when it comes to fees, I can explain. Just do a brief jump here over to the MLS coverage page. We cover about almost 500 data sets. And some of these data sets you'll find on this coverage page on our site. Some of these data sets do come with feeds, fees, and those fees will generally show up on the coverage page. So if you have any questions about that and you're wondering about any fees, that's automatic. It'll show up, and then we show the last refresh and the count, so on, and then the MLS fees are typically right here. If there are any notes that need to be added to let's say it's a broker-only MLS, but then in some cases there may be cases where an agent can have the IDX due to the contract that we have with that MLS. We'll put that in notes right here, and then just right above this button. So again, that's the coverage page, and then that's where you'll find a lot of information about the MLSs. So let's move on to the next page here. This is traffic stats, and traffic stats really gives you can look up most recent. You can get traffic stats by lead, so you can get the lead information, and you can see the history for that particular lead from traffic stats. Pretty helpful. You can also export traffic stats, so you have all that information. You can import it into whatever resource you use to manage that information. Again, down here we also have leads only. There's also a download, so you can download previous traffic as well, traffic data. Go to account notes. Account notes just tells you a little bit about what's happening with the account, what's happened in the past, what we've done to the account, and any notes that we want to share with you. Notices are, again, just notices. These are highlighted notices that you've removed from the dashboard previously, and then these are some of the other older notices. So all the notices get stored in this notices area, and that's all under the dashboard tab. And here under account management, this is where we keep all of your details. Some of this information cannot be changed by you. For instance, the company name can't be changed. And the reason for that is because we need paperwork on file in case you change, in cases where you either change your company or just to have the existing company that you're with listed under company name. And so we manage that piece. But you can always change your display name if you want, for instance, your company and then your name to show up, or however you want that to show up. You can also copy from first and last to get that in there. So you do have control over that. And then you have address information. You can update that as needed. If you have a designer on the account, you can put that information in here, and that helps us because we can take. We know then at that point that if your designer calls us up, we can send them credentials because you've entered them into this information, or that information into the designer info area. Billing info, obviously this is where you would update credit card information. If your credit card has just expired, all you need to do is come in here and enter the date and month and year of the expiration, the updated expiration. You can also come in here and view your own invoices. So if you're curious about previous invoices, you can come in here and pull a view. This is a demo account, so we don't have any, but you can see here that you can pull any of the invoices, previous invoices. So domain control this is a big one, and this is at the account management level because it's a domain change basically for IDX Broker. So IDX Broker hosts all of your IDX data, and the advantage to that is that we can build all of these great tools and lead capture resources and customization options without you ever having to get into code directly. And so that we're able to give you a lot of flexibility, but a lot of people want that flexibility, but they also want it to be, masked or appear to be on their primary domain. And so this is where this is the tool that we've given you to do that, and it's called the domain control area. And what it does is it allows you to, and there's a knowledge base article. I won't get into all the details right now in terms of how to set it up. It doesn't take long if you have, access to your domain. Usually GoDaddy has a domain manager, and you can go in and you can set up a subdomain. All you do is follow the instructions there to set up a new custom subdomain, and you can create a custom subdomain. In this case, we've created, I've used Great Property for Sale, and so this one is the subdomain. Technically, a www is considered a subdomain. Now, you want to be careful if you're choosing www as the subdomain for your primary domain, because in most cases, people will have www and non-www kind of point to the same area, and so a lot of times people will have a redirect that goes from www to the non-www. But in some cases, if you're very savvy, you can set this up with www. Now, for most people, what I would recommend is, whoops, I typed in the wrong spot. Most people should probably do something like, let's see, let's do search dot. So that would be the subdomain in this case, and most people will want to use, you'll want to use a search dot or something along those lines. Google uses things like mail dot and various subdomains that are related to what the function of that service is. And in this case, I think search dot has produced some great results for people. And when I say results, I mean in terms of getting those pages indexed and so on. Now, to be clear, Google sees no difference, and in fact, they list this on their website. They see no difference between a subfolder on your website and a subdomain. And they've made that very clear through their documentation that there's no difference in terms of ranking or anything along those lines. So I know that there's some information out there to suggest otherwise. If you go to Google, you'll see, and you look it up, you'll see that that's it's not the case. There is absolutely no difference to them. So we move to page links, and page links is great for this is basically, this is another link that we give you when you initially get set up, and this gives you access to all the system pages in your account. And there are some system pages that may not be front of mind for you. Now, most people will have something like a question about, okay, so we have another question here on IDX. And this is a general IDX question. Can I get access to the MLS info in other cities besides those on my board? You would be required to join that board. So no, the answer is no on that. Sometimes boards will include cities and listings outside of their area, but no, typically you need to do it that way. And then we have a question: can you show how it's shown? The sitemap is shown on the example site page. So here we have it. It's listed over here in the widget, and this is the WordPress, one of the WordPress widgets. Just dragged and dropped over to the side, and it just shows the system links. There's a system links widget that just pulls out all the system links and places them on your site. So that's, for those of you with WordPress, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Those of you without, just create the link and then either put it in the sidebar, or you could put it in the footer. So okay, so moving on. Again, we have a lot of tabs to cover, so I'm going to try to speed along here. So new password. This is obvious. That's, if you need to change your password, you can do it there. We have global defaults. We have some global defaults here where minimum and maximum, you can set that for the global defaults here. See, minimum, low price, high price in this case. You can also set defaults by property type. And then also, if you want to link to let's say you focus on a specific property type, you can do that here. And up here, the link will change. So you'll have, property type is land. It shows up at the top here as land. And so you can change the low price, high price on land. And this is very common for those of you with rentals. You may want to set it to rentals and then just link to that page. So if you have listing, let's say you have properties, or excuse me, your MLS has under SFR has a bunch of condos. In this case, you could rename the custom name single family and condos or something along those lines. That's fairly common. These are all our core property types, and then if you have multiple MLSs, we map the core property types or map those MLS property types to the core property types. So that's in some cases where people want to add if you want to add a custom name. You can also hide or you can remove certain links. If let's say in this case we have a basic search, but if I go here, now I've removed basic search from the menu. So I've customized that, and I can always add it back. And this preferences page gives you just a whole lot of things that you can do to the account to modify it without ever having to get into code or without ever having to modify or wait for these features to show up. We have a lot of features that we've added over the years, and many of these features at the request of our clients. So we have new search link here. So if you have you need a new search link, or you're pointing to a new sign-up page or something, if somebody clicks new search, that's where that will go. You can also hide, let's say you want to hide counties under the search list. You can do that. Here we've hidden counties, so we have city, zip. So I won't get too much into every single feature here because those of you that have the application can go through and you can click through on some of these help items if you get stuck on some of the minutia. Those of you that don't, if you have any questions about it, you can always check out the demo. We have a public demo that allows you to get in there and look around. So, but I will focus on certain things, and the reason for that is because we only have about a half an hour, and I have a lot of things here to cover. And one of those things is the custom city list. So here you have a custom city list where you can pull from the MLS itself or from our core set of cities. And so we have a master city list that we pull from. So that allows you to add cities that may match whatever the MLS is sending in the future. And so that gives you a way to build a custom city list specific to your area. And then you can show that city list on various pages as needed. That's a very commonly used tool. Showing logo on the loading screen, that will, I don't know if you can see it here, but if I click search, you'll see the logo show up. I've just added our logo here, but you would add your logo and it would show up and really give it a good branding, like custom look, custom branding. And that's pretty powerful. To do that, you need to add your logo, and I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. You can do things to the map search, so you can change the map options. You can change the latitude and longitude of the center location for the map. You can change the max number of properties. You could show 50 properties or 100 properties if you wanted even. We recommend about 25 just to keep the load time quick. And then, defaults. Let's say on map search you have rentals and you want to focus on those. You can set the rentals here under defaults. And and then you have zoom levels, of course. Here, results page, you have some various things here. The most important thing is that feature my MLS properties on standard results. Usually this is on, but if it's not, I would recommend that you put it on, turn it on. And the reason for that is because anytime results show up, let's say some featured listings match this criteria here in this results search, your listings would show up at the top, and then you would have all the other listings showing up down below. And then here you have manage. You can manage your properties and things like this. Things like sold pending, featured properties, supplemental, and so on. You can change the mortgage calculator settings and the whatever defaults are. Email updates are important. This is where you would add your email address, and then basically you get copied on all daily mailings that go out to your clients. So this gives you a chance to stay on top of any emails that are going out to your clients, so you know what they're looking at and so on. And you can always come into the application later and take a look at what people have clicked on. So you'll see that as they click on it, the traffic gets recorded, and and then you can see also if they get an email update, it will show you that person has clicked on an email update. Now I don't have an example of that in this particular demo, but in the demo account it will show that, or you can create that on your own by sending yourself emails and then looking at how that works. But that's a very powerful tool, and again, I'll get into that later when we get into manage leads. Here we have the logo. Definitely, if you don't have your logo in here, put it in. This is important. And then custom image. This is the custom image used by default, but you can create your own custom image as well. And that's in case the MLS doesn't have photos, or for some reason there's a problem with the photos. So I do have a question here about city list tool. You know what? I've got some tabs that will answer some of these questions, so I'll defer on those. And then I do have a question here about the from address. So that's exactly correct. So when the question is, when the prospect replies, is that where the from address comes into play? And the answer is yes. So the from address is the basically reply to. So for email updates, who do you want to have? How do you want that reply? Where do you want that reply to go if they send it? So by default, it will just be your standard email. Another question about recording. Yes, it's being recorded. It'll be on YouTube, and in fact, you'll get a link within a day or two with the recorded webinar, the full webinar. So down here we have details page options, and you can choose walk score if you'd like. Microsoft, which is basically Bing. Bing is great, and one of my favorites because and I'll show you. We'll be able to get a good look here. Click on this property. Bing has this. Well, in this case, we don't have the bird's eye, but they have just a great menu up at the top in their details page, and they have bird's eye view if it's within a city. So Bing is just a great map, and I would recommend using Bing on the details page. The walk score is great if you're in a city and you think buyers need that information. But for most people, I would say Bing is a great resource. The enhanced photo gallery. This This will show the photo gallery. Now in this case we've requested registration, but this is the advanced photo gallery, and basically it just, it's a nice little light box overlay, and so you can go through the photos that way. The other method is the other photo gallery type is if you turn this to no, it'll list all the photos out. So it'll be full size, but it will list them out and in one long scrolling page. Conversion tracking. So this is great for AdWords or any other campaigns where you're trying to track when somebody signs up. I'm running a campaign. I'm running a campaign for, let's say, a custom link in Aloha, Oregon, and I want to track that traffic and know how many conversions I'm getting from that particular campaign. I would put conversion tracking code in here, and then anytime somebody signs up, it would show up in that report in Google AdWords or whatever other tool you use to run your ad campaigns. The share this feature, this is great for those of you that want to have and track any sharing of properties, that any of the listings that come off of your site, and you can go to share this and you can go get a unique key, and then you log in and they'll give you reporting and reports on what's been shared, the amount of shares going on, and so on. It's pretty powerful, and you can see that. I think we have, if I back up, whoops, back to property is what I meant to do. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, so here we have share property, and if I click on that, it just shows a bunch of social media sharing resources, and I can either sign in, or you can just share it. And then what happens is that it's tracking that, and then if you create a share this account for your website and you get a key, then you can you have more information, more insight about what's going on there. Here we have, so we do have a question here about text messages. Oh, first of all, on share this, where do you get the key? So you go to share this and you get the key with them. And then text messaging, you would have to set that up through your provider. You could set up your main email address to be, such and such at Verizon, VZW text, or whatever they use. That's probably the easiest way to do it. We don't offer that service currently, so it would all be email or using that type of service. Let's see, and then I have another question here. And some of these, it looks like I'm going to have to answer a couple of these offline, so I'll get back to you offline, those of you that aren't getting your questions answered. So here we've covered share this, and we have SEO options. Now, this is a really important section, and we added it later, I think just a year and a half ago or so, so it's unfortunately at the bottom here, but it really is important, and you can come in here and you can customize this, the title text for all your details pages, and you can include the listing number, the listing address, your name. In this case I just put my name, but you would put your company name or what have you, or you could use what do we have here? We have display name. Display name is also a variable that you can add. So these are all system variables, system information variables that you can add in, and then they'll show up and dynamically under the title text and meta tags as well. So in this case you have there's a lot you can do to increase the attention given to the individual details pages. The title tag is according to SEO Moz, is one of the most powerful variables for search engines. So if you have dynamic title tags that include keyword text, and then you have meta descriptions that make that tag itself compelling to click on, then you're going to see you'll see a rise in the rankings of some of those listings that you've set up, or that are automatically being pulled in. And that's a one-time thing. So once you set up those dynamic tags, it's a one-time thing, and you don't really have to come back to those unless you're not seeing great results. So search list filters. I won't get into this, but basically if there are listings or properties in cities outside of your general area, you would filter it out, and then those results wouldn't show up. And then we're back to the custom city list. There's just another menu link for that. Syndication is a big one. For each of these, you'll need to have an account with these providers in order to syndicate to them. But when you do, that XML feed will show up like this, and then you can just copy and paste that into their service. You know, set it up with your account with them, and then you know, they'll have that information. And then if you know, if you get a click or you get a link or you want to, you know, backing up a little bit, just looking at this from a 30,000 foot level, if you're going to have a need for capturing your own leads, but you're also going to have marketing partners that you're going to want to work with, and you know, in most cases you're going to want to capture some of that traffic as well. And so this is a good way to kind of set that up and make sure that you know, you're not missing out on some of those leads as well. So, and down here you have advanced feed and standard feed for RSS and XML. So you have the RSS feed that, you know, if anybody wants to subscribe and they're, you know, tech savvy and they want to subscribe to your RSS for all your featured listings, you can set that up. So a question here is it beneficial to set up accounts with all of these providers? I would say, you know, you'll want to evaluate each one of them on an individual basis and just see what they can deliver to you. It might be worth, if you're not doing it now, it might be worth setting up a couple of them. And the reason for that is because, as you can see from this feed, everything points back to your details page. So it'll come back, and then you can, you know, you can gather more information or whatever you need to do at that point. So, you know, it certainly is valuable, useful to get that traffic directly from those providers in some cases. Now, some of them are going to be better than others at delivering that, or delivering, you know, good quality leads. But it doesn't hurt to drive traffic. But again, it should be part of your overall marketing campaign. And you're going to want to do things like SEO, make sure that your pages are getting indexed. You're going to want to set up good lead capture. Well, excuse me, lead capture isn't really part of marketing, but you want to set up some custom links, and I'll get into those here pretty soon, where you know, you can have custom links with landing pages that are results pages, and then you know, you can set up campaigns around that, like 1 to 2 million dollar homes in Oregon, and then use that keyword text or some variable of that. So there's a lot of things you need to do that's part of your marketing campaign, and syndication is really just part of that. So we've got preferences. We've covered everything under my preferences. We'll move to customize, and about 20 minutes to cover the rest of this. So I'm going to speed through some of these tools here. We have templates. So those of you that may be, you know, wanting to upgrade your template or change your template, you can come in here and take a look at that. We have classifieds. Classifieds is very popular. And Home Basic is sometimes popular as well. So you have a lot of options here in terms of different templates that can be created or added. Now note that each template can be customized as well. So there's a lot that you can do there. So we go to Customize, Global Wrapper. And this is the wrapper that your designer, either your designer, and they may be a partner of ours, or we may have done it, our support team may have set up a wrapper for you. And then in some cases you may have set up a WordPress include, so that's there's some documentation on how to do that, and that makes it so that the wrapper is dynamic and automatically gets updated without you ever having to come in here and modify any of this or request that of us. Here we have global or page wrappers. We have category wrappers. So for specific categories, page types. Not very common to use those. And then we have page wrappers here, and page level wrappers are usually the most important piece for, or the place that people go for with page wrappers is the email updates area. So, oh, and I do have actually this is a great question, and I'm glad you asked this question. The question is, what is a wrapper? And And you know, it's sometimes I'm in the product all the time. I get ahead of myself and don't realize that not everyone is aware of how the integration works. A wrapper is basically, if I back up here and I go to the global wrapper, this is all HTML from your website. So this is taken from the main website, your primary website. And what this does is it allows us to create this entire area outside of this body area. So this is the body area that IDX Broker creates, right? This area out here, and on the sidebar and the footer, scroll way down. Boy, a lot of listings showing up on this one. So down here we've got the footer, okay? So that's created through the wrapper. This area is created by us. So we force all the disclaimers and, you know, make sure that you're within the rules and you're displaying things accurately and correctly. This area again is the wrapper area. So all this is driven by the text and in the HTML that's in that wrapper area. So that's the branding area. And so that's how you're able to create this page that's hosted on the IDX Broker server that looks just like your website. So that's how the wrapper works. And so you can have a static wrapper like this. You can have an include wrapper where your designer, you know, creates a header and a footer that probably contains all this, but may be done by server-side code. And I won't get too far into the server-side code discussion, but it allows your developer to dynamically change the you know, things without ever having to come in here and update this, what's called a static wrapper. Now here is a dynamic wrapper as well, and this can be done with WordPress, and it's very powerful, just as powerful as it includes, because you don't have to come in here and request updates to the wrapper. So this wrapper is, I believe it's right now it's a static wrapper, and so if I change, let's say and when I say updates, I mean, let's say I wanted basic search to go to advanced search. I wanted to swap these out. Well, if I have a basic wrapper or a static wrapper, that these IDX Broker pages will show the same menu item. Now, if I have a dynamic wrapper, either an include or use the WordPress wrapper, which technically could be used without WordPress as well, and you know, those of you that are interested in that, you can shoot me an email offline, and I'll send you the knowledge base article about it. But it would basically update this dynamically. So the basic search on all the IDX pages would then move to where the advanced search is now, because that's how you've set it up on your website. So hopefully that provides some clarity. Clear as mud. So move on. Again, not a lot of time. I have 15 minutes here to cover a lot. So what I'm going to do is jump to subheaders and talk a little bit about that. We've got, most people are going to want to put an H1 into their subheader area, and the reason for that is because H1 tags are very SEO friendly and can get crawled, and it just helps you out with some of these basic core pages. Custom CSS, this is if you have a designer or if you know CSS, you're going to want to come in here and you can customize all the CSS on the IDX pages. There are just so many different things you can do with custom CSS if you're skilled at that. Custom links, this is where you build a link, and you can build a map link if you'd like. So you can come in here and let's say you want a specific area that you want to display the map. You can do that here, and I'm not sure why the map isn't loading in this case, but normally it would show the map, and then you could zoom in and you know, find a specific area and then make that a custom link. So let's say I want Aloha, generate link. Here's the link. I can test it in a new window. So here's, let's do this. Low price, remove that, recreate the link, open it again, and then here we go. So here we have 45 results. This is how the link looks initially, but I can come in here and say Aloha listings, okay? And so then I just go here, save. There's my Aloha listings page, right? Now I can come in and edit that page. I can add custom link, custom text to that page, and that page basically, let me back up. As you can see, this was the original search result link. This is the new one, and it's called Aloha listings, right? It's whatever I've called it. So that's a custom link. And these are links that you can create campaigns around. You can create these custom links, and then you know, there's an SEO element of it where you come in and you know, you can create a custom title tag for them. But also, you may want to just create an ad campaign that points directly to those custom searches. You can also link to these pages from your website. So you can say, you know, Aloha listings, and you could set a price range. So you can do a lot of create a lot of custom results with these. Advanced search. So advanced search allows you to set a default MLS if you have multiple MLSs, but you can also close this out. You can also modify your MLS search, your advanced search, so you can add new fields. If you don't like the default fields that we've chosen for you, you can move things around. So let's say I want type to go up there, technically subtype. So you have, you know, here you can have that listed. You can increase the size, and in some cases you can modify, modify if you want wild text in there, like for remarks. Usually remarks, like in this case, we may want to add remarks. So remarks shows up down here, and then I want it to be, you know, let's see, you want to move it up. In this case, it's showing up as a keyword. Let me see if, there we go. So now it's wild text, and then, you know, so now you have a new field. So here we have, let's see, we're on customize. Now we're at widgets, and we have about 12 minutes for this one, actually for the remainder. So I'm going to get a little bit faster here and try to cover all of this. So we have the standard widget, which is the showcase, and that's a standard showcase, and that you can have featured or supplemental listings. You can have sold pending properties, and a lot of times people use this widget if, let's say you want a grid style results page for your featured listings. You can create that with this widget. So that's where that's used the most. And then you have a slideshow that just kind of rotates through, and usually that's in a sidebar or somewhere in the header. And you just copy and paste this code in. That's all you have to do. Custom slideshows. This is based on a search, so it's not just your listings, but it's actually all listings. You can create a search based on all listings and any criteria, and then place that on your website. Custom showcases is very similar. It's a showcase, but you can showcase any particular type of listings, and it'll rotate through those that are not necessarily your listings. Custom search form. This is where you create a quick search, and we have some preset templates down here, A, B, and C. So you can choose any one of those, or you can modify it. You just move things around. So you can do a lot to you can customize it, and then you can generate script, and that script will be updated when you update your city list. It'll update in the script. If you do HTML, then you can customize it, but note that if you make changes to your city list, that won't be reflected in the HTML widget because all of this is hard-coded in. So you can reset. So we have another widget called the wildcard search. And the wildcard search, you just copy this in, and then this is the example. This is how it looks. So, and then featured agent. Actually, this doesn't apply in this case. And we have lead login. So lead login is you can just copy and paste this in and into your sidebar typically, and then you'll have a little login widget. So here's the mobile page, and you have the iPad, iPhone. You have the mobile widget here, where if you provide this link, people can go and download the mobile app, and then they just enter that code, and that's your code, and then it'll be embedded, and it will show your information in here at the top. Now you can change the color, so you can make it whatever your branding is. You can make it match. You can make it match your site because this is the standard color code, so you don't have to choose this little color chooser. You could just find your color code, the color code on your site, or whatever blends in with your site, and do that. Do it that way. We have lead management. So Lead management is important. You can come in here and view traffic history. You can verify the lead. So the lead has about 6 days, I believe, to verify, and then if they don't verify, then they're not going to get email updates. But you can verify them manually in here, and then you can see their saved searches, you can save properties, and so on. So I do have a question about the mobile. Is the mobile app available for Droid? And the answer is no. And then there's another question about Windows app. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's iOS, so it's iOS only for the mobile app. And then are the full-size pics downloaded to the iPhone? Yes, in the mobile app it displays the full size, but it scales them down. But you can certainly zoom in as needed. And then there's a question about the mobile app, the current mobile app, and then the future of mobile with IDX Broker. We've invested a lot into more mobile responsive pages, and so that's coming. But for now, this is the mobile app is the tool that's been in use for the last couple of years, and a lot of people still use it, and it works great. So any of you that have any other questions about that the mobile app, go ahead and you can ping me after the webinar. So we're on lead management, and then we have save searches. And as you can see, the save searches in here. I can also save my own search for this lead. So, and then I can also add notes. So, go back here. If I want to add a new lead, I can do that here. Inactive lead settings. This is just the default settings for inactive leads. Registration preferences. So this is a big one. If I go here and let's say I set, this is a good way to capture some leads, and we found that from our stats that lead registration on Photo Gallery, setting that to request was very useful in terms of the number of just in general the number of leads received. And so that's something that we would recommend, that if you don't have that turned on, that you set that. And for instance here, if I go to Photo Gallery, it says please sign up. So that helps you get registrations. The other thing is requesting register on the details pages. You can set that at anything you want, 3 to 6 to 8, whatever you want. So, and then you also have force. Some people choose not to do this because the request is enough. If you have a request every 6th property view, then eventually people will may sign up, but they may just jump off your site if you force them. So we do hear a lot about request and people liking that request feature. Also on this, you can customize, and I would recommend that you customize the actual experience itself, so the lead sign-up experience, and you can do that down here. And then I have a quick question here about how do I keep a lead from getting disabled. So here we have do not disable leads. Ignore settings displayed below. Click. That will solve that problem for you. Click and save. Don't do what I just did and not save it. So click it and then save it. Here we have custom lead registration form builder. So you can add a field down below here, and add any fields that you like. Sometimes we get questions about international phone numbers. I'd like to add that, so you can put that field in here. Contact routing doesn't apply. You can export leads, and it will just export all of your leads down into a CSV file. So here we have active listings, and this is the listing manager tool. And here you can do all kinds of things. You can modify the description. You can change the price. You can modify the latitude and longitude. In some cases, the MLS doesn't provide accurate latitude and longitude. So in this case, you can look it up online or something, or if you know the actual latitude and longitude, you can put that in here, and then be sure, that way you're sure that it shows up correctly on the map and in results, on the results map. If you have a particular photo that for some reason the way that MLS is sending it it's not in the order that you like or would prefer, you can move the photos around. So you can do that here. If you have a virtual tour, you put that here, and it'll show up in the results and the details search. If you have an open house, it'll show up on the results and details and on the open houses page that I showed you earlier. You set the time and date and so on. And then custom link is like a flyer. If you have a flyer, a PDF, and you're hosting that, you just create text for it, say, hey, you know, download the flyer or something, and then put the URL in there, and people can download it. So that's active listings. I'll leave the page. Sold pending. If a listing is sold or pending, you need to come in here and set it as sold or pending, and then that way it shows up on the sold pending page. So that's what you would want to do there. And then supplemental listings, if you have those, you know, any older listings that are, you know, let's say, like I said, they may have sold prior to you getting an IDX broker account, and so we don't have those listings archived. You can come in here and set those as sold or pending. Or if for some reason you have an active listing in there and it hasn't shown up yet, you can put it in supplemental, and that'll show up in all the search results. So, yeah. And that covers most of it. If you get stuck, if you have any questions, you can always click on Help, and it'll take you straight to the knowledge base. We have a Google search on the knowledge base, so you can type in anything you want, and it'll, you know, should come up with the solid results for you. We also have some of the older webinars in here listed. I would recommend actually going to our YouTube page for some of the latest webinars, and that's probably where you're going to find the most recent webinars. And then any recent entries are going to show up here and kind of give you what's new, what's changed. There's also, if you get stuck, you can always email support. Just come in here and, you know, fill out the form and email us. I do have a question back. I'll go back. So a question about contact routing. First of all, with contact routing, it's not showing up here because it's an agent account. We do show the tab, but it's an agent account. If you want contact routing set up, you would need to upgrade to a team account. That's only $10 more. Or you could go to the office account level, and that goes up to, that starts at $78.99. So we have lead registration. We have another question here. So why would somebody on lead registration redirect to a third-party website on forced registration? So that may be the case if you want, let's say you want a custom response page of some kind. In most cases, that's where that comes into play. So that's a great question. There are a lot of features in here that are built around just kind of, you know, unique features that a few people have asked for, and so we've added it in. And so, you know, if you get stuck, you can always hit the little help icon here, and then again help here, and then go from there. So we've reached the hour limit, and so with that said, I'm going to wrap up the webinar, and I appreciate you showing up for the webinar today. Thank you for taking the time, and if you have any questions, feel free to email us at webinars@idxbroker.com, and we'll have somebody get back to you today. Again, the email will go out tomorrow that contains contains the recorded video, so you'll be able to come back and look at some of the things, and, you know, scroll back to some of the tabs that you may have missed if you had to step out. So thank you again, and have a great day.